Alright class, open your books. I've seen many found footage films throughout the years. Some good, some great, some god-awful. And for me, one of the key ingredients to making a good found footage film is how authentic the movie feels. So on the syllabus today, we'll be covering 3 found footagers. One of them even crosses over into my Toes of Terror Bigfoot horror series. So open those books to page 374 and let's get started. Himalaya is streaming on Tubi, and it's directed and written by Brandon Walker. Himalaya falls into both the Found Footage 101 and my Toes of Terror categories, but I'll cover it here. A team of paranormal investigators head to the Himalayas to find the elusive snow ghost. While some of the team sit by a toasty fire in a cabin, esteemed explorer and researcher Yuma Sato, played by Akihiro Kitamura, ventures into a deep cave where a team of explorers have recently gone missing in order to capture the elusive beast on camera. Let's see how this stacks up to my found footage questionnaire. Are the actors successfully acting like they aren't acting? The acting is pretty okay in Himalaya. While the concept of the film is that it's an investigative paranormal broadcast and the hosts are a bit stiff, Kitamura is decent as the lone cave explorer who slowly goes crazy the colder and deeper in the caves he gets. Kitamura, as Sato, takes a journey from rational scientist to raving lunatic that is gradual and pretty believable, though I think it takes much more time than allotted in the film to fall victim to hypothermia and paradoxical undressing. Still, I really like the way they fleshed out Sato's character, as they gave him a backstory leading all the way back to his childhood, where he read a book on monsters and decided then and there to be a monster hunter. Does the footage found seem authentic and untouched by additional production, which means there's no omniscient editor making multiple edits between cameras or an invisible orchestra providing music? While the switching between cameras is explained as this is a produced show with multiple cameras in use, there is an explanation at the beginning of Himalaya that this footage has been edited together at the beginning. The film does cheat in the fact that it uses musical cues while in the tunnel, and unless Dr. Sato had a keyboardist along with him as he crawled through the tunnels, I don't think that music should have been there. For me, this makes the film less authentic, and therefore less effective in convincing me that this is footage found. Why don't they just drop the camera and get the hell out of there? Dr. Yuma Sato doesn't drop his camera because he wants to document this journey for science and fame. Later, he's just nuts and seems to forget the camera is on. The folks in the cabin try to keep the show going despite how Sato's sanity is crumbling and have a show to maintain, so they try to save face by switching to interviews with a skeptic and a local mystic in between shots of Sato crawling through the tunnels. Is there an up-the-nose Blair Witch confessional or a wreck drag-away from the camera? The camera is always kind of up Sato's nose while crawling through this cave, but there is no real confessional as he's conversing with the rest of the team back in the toasty cabin. So his narration is less cringy than the Blair Witch confessional trope. There are also a few drag-aways, a la the end of Wreck, but one of them actually made me jump, though the other felt extraneous and repetitive. Does anything actually happen? Is the lead-in too long and the payoff too short? There's quite a long lead-in to the action, but the guests on the show in the cabin and the increasing amount of weirdness going on is dispersed pretty evenly. Once Sato begins to lose his mind, things get wild and wacky pretty quickly, leading to an explosive ending involving the elusive snow ghost, aka the abominable snowman. Does the film add anything to the subgenre, and is it worth watching? I don't know if Himalaya adds to the found footage subgenre, as it is put together more like a paranormal show gone wrong, more like Ghost Watch or Late Night with the Devil. In this sense, it seems to be on the cusp of a new corner of the found footage subgenre, where it's staged as a mockumentary at first and then quickly turns into a more immediate horror show. The film does venture into some relatively uncharted areas involving Bigfoot's connection to the paranormal, suggesting that the cryptid is much more of an interdimensional being than an actual flesh and blood monster. For those details, I'm going to give Himalaya 2 big feats in my Toes of Terror scale. While things get goofy at times and the budget is obviously low, I did like the format of Himalaya. The acting was okay, and the monster, while obviously a man in a suit, that kind of looks like a Harry and the Hendersons mask, but it still actually made me jump a time or two. And that's more that I can say about most found footage and Bigfoot films out there today. Next up is The Life of Belle, also streaming on Tubi. It's directed and written by Shawn Robinson. Filmed in a documentary police procedural style at first, Life of Belle documents the tragic weeks leading up to the disappearance of 8-year-old Belle, played by Seren Robinson, who went missing after her mother, played by Sarah Mae Robinson, goes off of her meds and begins attacking her children when their father goes away on a business trip. The police release the security cam footage in hopes to find clues as to what happened to the little Belle. Are the actors successfully acting like they aren't acting? Yes. Sarah Mae Robinson does a fantastic job of playing a woman in the throes of a manic episode. Robinson seems to have done her homework and plays a person slowly coming apart at the seams. This descent into madness is only made more clear by the tragic performance of her 2 children, Belle and Link, played by Zachary Robinson, who also give authentic performances of tearful children trying to survive with their increasingly unstable mother. Does the footage seem authentic and untouched by additional production? While the first few minutes of Life of Belle are produced in a documentary style with music and cuts and all of that, the rest of the film consists of security cameras set up around the entire house, and it feels extremely real. Why don't they just drop the camera and get the hell out of there? Well, the cameras stay on because they're a security fixture in the house, and the mother's too batshit crazy to turn them off. The kids are kids, so they forget the cameras are there as well because they have their batshit crazy mother to worry about. Is there an up-nosed Blair Witch confessional or a wreck drag-away? There are a few times Belle pleads to the camera for help. These are similar to the Blair Witch shot, but because a kid is doing it and the acting is so well, the whole thing is much more resonant and tragic. I didn't mind it. Does anything actually happen? Is the lead-in too long and the payoff too short? The lead-in is very long. While the film does a great job of depicting mental illness, the decline of the mother's faculties is extremely slow. So there are scenes of the kids brushing their teeth and playing with their toys. As with real life, the illness strikes very slowly and then all at once. I can appreciate the authenticity of this depiction, but it doesn't make for an interesting watch until around the 35-45 minute point, which is a monotonous time to sit through. Does the film add anything to the subgenre, and is it worth watching? Once the crazeballs start rolling, this movie really hits hard. It just takes forever to get there. I was invested in the plight of these poor kids who have to watch their mother's sanity disintegrate in front of them. Life of Belle is a hard watch because of how real it feels and how young the kids are who are going through all of this tragedy. It takes its sweet old time to get to the horror, but once it arrives, it's potent and scary. For our last found footager, we have Milk and Cereal. It's streaming on YouTube, and it's directed by Curry Barker. I'll provide the link below where you can watch the entire thing. A pair of YouTube pranksters, Milk and Seven, played by writer-director Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson, try to prank each other for a birthday party with horrifying results. How's the acting? Well, since no one in the cast is recognizable, the film does have an air of legitimacy. Much of the dialogue is natural, and while occasionally things are said to move the plot along, most of the acting feels as if it isn't rehearsed. The two leads, Barker and Tomlinson, also have a likable back and forth between them, and the sense that their acting only shows up in the latter portion of the film when shit gets real. Does the found footage seem authentic and untouched by additional production? Unfortunately, Milk and Cereal has slight musical cues to suggest tone here and there. For me, this always takes away from the feeling of authenticity, even if those who survived the events that occur in this film edited this footage together from the various sources of media the film is made of. The addition of music wouldn't really make any sense. The film is made up of footage from multiple cameras and flashes back and forth between two different timelines from both Milk and Seven's perspective. But this was edited as such that it was never confusing. So I guess there's an omniscient editor putting this film together, but I never felt there was footage used that wasn't captured by the two cameras. Therefore, it's a technically tight film aside from the music, which is a technical manipulative cheat in my found footage rulebook. What stops them from dropping the camera and getting the hell out of there? The guys are YouTube influencers, always hoping to catch reactions from their pranks. So filming everything just seems second nature to them and part of the show, as setting up the prank is all part of the process. Even when things get nuts, because one or both of the actors believe things to be a prank, filming everything is never seen as inappropriate. Is there an up-nosed Blair Witch confessional or a wrecked drag-away? There are confessionals of sorts from both leads as they tell the viewer about the prank they're setting up, so the up-close confessional seems all part of the show. Thankfully, there are no wrecked dragaways. Nothing ruins a found footager than the tired and cliched final dragaway shot. The final shot in Milk and Cereal is shocking, nevertheless. Does anything actually happen? The film runs a brisk hour and 2 minutes. The plot moves along at a nice speed, with all kinds of pranks, backstabbings, action, and plot twists going on. Milk and Cereal is never, ever boring, and a lot happens in the runtime. Does it add anything to the subgenre, and is it worth watching? Milk and Cereal is a good one worth seeking out. While most of the time I hate films about influencers, Milk and Seven proved to be interesting to watch. The characters are engaging, the film has a great way of raising the stakes by the minute, and does a wonderful job of revealing just enough information to make you anticipate the other shoe to drop, and then adds a new twist or two to the story, making it a difficult movie to predict. I guess it was made for less than $800, so it's an example of low budget but high quality work. As things spiral out of control as a result of these pranks, Milk and Cereal ends up telling an interesting and surprisingly unique tale of how far is too far in terms of friendly pranks between friends. After watching Milk and Cereal, I ended up checking out some of this comedy writing team's other shorts and clips on their YouTube and Instagram pages called That's a Bad Idea. These guys are both deeply demented and genuinely funny. It may not be your kind of humor, but it is mine. Reminiscent of skits from I Think You Should Leave, The Kids in the Hall, and The Whitest Kids You Know, That's a Bad Idea goes into some very wrong places and pushes the boundaries of good taste and PC values against the wall and has their perverse and merry way with them. If you're looking for some very twisted humor, check out their YouTube page, which I've listed below right before the comments. Alright class, I hope you learned something today. Remember your homework. Check out some of these movies and let me know what you think of them. And if you have other suggestions for found footage films you want me to check out, let me know down in the comments.
Class is dismissed.
Please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're